just months earlier. From Everest, he has gone on to host more extreme adventure TV shows across more global networks than anybody else in history. Bear's shows include the legendary Discovery Channel show, Man vs. Wild, and now the hit show Running Wild with Bear Grylls is in its 6th season on National Geographic. His Running Wild guests have included people like President Obama, Will Ferrell, Ben Stiller, Roger Federer, Julia Roberts, Prime Minister Modi of India, and many other stars. He also hosts the Emmy-nominated interactive Netflix series You vs. Wild, where it's the viewers who get to decide what adventure Bear goes on. This was one of the most viewed Netflix shows of the year and is now in its 2nd season. Bear and MGN recently partnered with Amazon Prime to establish the global hit TV series, The World's Toughest Race Eco Challenge. I know very well he's a real family man. He's a #1 best-selling author who has sold over 20 million books worldwide. And he is the honorary colonel to the British Royal Marine Commandos and the first ever chief ambassador to over 50 million young scouts worldwide. And let's have a look at this video. Check this one out.
Well, it's too long living in the same old life. Yeah, I feel too cold to live, too young to die. Yeah, will you walk the line like it's there to choose? Yeah, just forget the wins, it's the best to use. Won't you follow me into the jungle? Ain't no God on my streets, in the heart of
the jungle. Ladies and gentlemen, in exclusive for Juice Plus, Bear Grylls.
Thank you, and that is a very kind introduction, and it's always nice to have the best side of ourselves put forward. But in truth, I am also mindful that the guy sitting in front of you here today is often full of nerves, and I know struggle, and I've experienced many moments of self-doubt. But when I look back for me on so many moments and so many adventures and so many close shaves, when I look at actually what has made the difference in my life, what I see is 3 clear things, 3 clear words. These words, though, for me define so much of my journey. And understanding how to master these things, for me, has changed everything. So first, and arguably the most important one, is failure. And this is where I want to start. I stood in the rain at the foot of a windswept mountain in the Brecon Beacons. I was soaked, shivering, sick with nerves about what lay ahead over the next 11 months. And this was now day 1 of British Special Forces selection to join 21 SAS. We were a band of 90 recruits, or volunteers as we were called. And if I'm honest, I had never felt just so out of place, amongst these huge muscle-bound soldiers. And I had that dreadful feeling that I'd volunteered for something that was actually way beyond my capabilities. The first time I tried for the SAS, after 6 months of beat up, I was failed, returned to unit, as they call it. And the raw truth was that I wasn't fast enough, I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't good enough. And that truth hurt. But people often don't know that I failed SAS selection first time. We all like to to gloss over our failures. But for me, my failures far outweigh the successes, really, many times over. I think of the failed expeditions or the failed projects, or even those near-death moments that still come to me in the night sometimes. But those failures have also made me, and they've built resilience. And those failures have forced me to adapt and to get stronger inside and out. And as a young soldier, I was determined to retry for the SAS, to go through that whole notorious selection process again. And such a big part of me dreaded it, you know, the pain, the blisters, the unknown, the fatigue. But I reapplied and I went through it all once more. This time, though, by the end, all those months later, from those 90 new recruits, only 4 of us still remained. But here's the real point. Here's the real irony. That out of the 4 of us who were still standing at the end, 3 of those 4 had failed at our first attempt. But then we got it second time. In other words, our first failure was actually the key. So the message is embrace those failures. Don't run from them. Know their role. Failures, essential, like markers, like doorways you've got to pass through if you're ever going to reach your dreams. So that's the first thing, failure. The next, and this one shapes all of us in some way, and it is fear. Because life is pretty scary sometimes, and all of us face battles. You know, battles of confidence, battles of nerves, battles where we have to face some giants, you know, and sometimes those giants are big ones, and they can be really frightening in our lives. But it's a universal truth. Whoever we are, life is gonna test us physically, mentally, emotionally. And how we react to that testing, that determines everything. Because I've learned that life doesn't always just reward the brilliant or the talented. Life really doesn't care about just your exam results or your good looks or your letters after a name. Life rewards the dogged, the determined, those who can walk towards their fears despite those giants I was talking about. And after 3 years in the military, I had a moment that changed my life forever. It was a routine parachuting jump in Africa. It's getting dark and I'm free falling past 4,000 feet. Check the altimeter, time to pull. I look up, check the canopy, check it's open, but instantly see something is very wrong. And I'm struggling to control this and I'm still falling, you know, way too fast. And then I'm just too low to be able to use the reserve and I just brace for that impact. And then my world goes silent. And I remember the African hospital. I'm alive, but I can't move. And then the doctors, and then the pain. And my back is shattered in 3 different places. And I remember that blurred journey home. And then the months in rehabilitation. And also the night terrors, you know, for me, always about falling and always out of control. And it might make you wonder if I've ever jumped since then. And the answer is all the time. Part of my life. It's a conscious choice to embrace the difficult stuff. Don't get me wrong, I dread the jumps, and I dread the nights before especially. And then in that moment, the roar of the wind when the plane door opens, that, you know, for me, terrible. But I've learnt the answer to my fear. Face it. Don't run. Use it. Become friends with it. Because life and experience has repeatedly shown me that when we edge towards our fears, they often just melt away. So never run from the difficult. Always move forward towards our fears. You gotta kind of own them. Make them serve you. Get them to give you your edge and make your fears your friend. So we have the failure, we have fear, but now we need to turn them into power. And that's where the fire comes in. The fire to keep moving forward against the odds, to hang on, to endure beyond the norm. But how do we access that fire? Because for all of us, sometimes in life, our fire inside gets a little like covered over, a little hidden. And sometimes that fire is just the smallest of embers, but it's always there. And the fire can really change everything. When I was on Mount Everest, the peak claimed 4 climbers' lives. 2 died of the cold and 2 fell. And it's just what, you know, high mountains do. They kick the hell out of you. And they ask that question, what are you made of when it hurts? And I'll never forget the final hours on Everest. And we were at 28,000 feet. And we've been climbing now for over 55 days up there. It's minus 40 degrees. And that dark ice face of the final 2,000 feet of the peak just looms above. And I am terrified. You know, the next 24 hours is going to change my life. I know that. But after so long at high altitude now, I'm also weak. Really weak. And I'm mentally shot, you know. And I just remember being in this chest deep powder snow in this steep couloir. And this thing is just never ending. And I keep sliding back with every step. And I'm just no longer sure that I can do this. I really am not. And this voice inside keeps telling me this. And I'm slowly bowing to that voice. But remember, sometimes an ember is all it takes. So I keep going. Just, you know, never give up. NGU. And this fire has been my most valuable weapon. You know, not talent or skills or knowledge, but resilience. And if all you take from this talk is this, know the power of it, of unrelenting, unwavering resilience. Because it's the storms of life that make us strong. And as with all dark nights, sometimes we just got to hang on in there, doggedly. You know, the dawn will always come. The light will always win. And the fire in nature is all powerful. So, 3 words that, when mastered, can truly empower your life. To learn how to deal with and to cope and master failure, fear, and that fire inside. So I guess what I'm really trying to say through all this is simple. First is that I'm no hero, truly. You know, I struggle often, and I'm no stranger to crippling doubt and to those fears. But also I know the weapons that have served me best, and they come from within, not just without. So for you, remember, you guys, you are made amazing. So stand tall, and above all, NGU, never give up. Thank you.
Wow, I don't know if you're like me, but I've got goosebumps from just watching that video. I'm sure you have as well. But we're delighted to have Bear here for our first ever global event marking 50 years of the Juice Plus company. And we've been inundated by questions from the Juice Plus world. We ask everybody to ask a question if they wanted to. We'd be here all day, I think, answering all those questions, Bear, if we went through all of them. But we've pulled out the most pertinent questions, I think, for you. And I'm going to start off, first of all, by asking a question that comes from Spain, the US, and the UK. And it comes from Eva Maria Lopez, Illyria, and Caris Stapley, and Kelly Brunn. And this is probably the most common question, I think, which we got there was, how long have you been using the products? And do you take your Juice Plus products as part of your survival kit?
Well, first of all, you know, Simon, it's so fun to be doing this with you. We've got such a great history and friendship over many years together. And you know, obviously this event now is a different type of event. I've spoken at many of your conferences over the years as a keen, you know, user of Juice Plus, but actually fun to do this as a global online event. So great to see you, Simon, and I really hope that message that I've just spoken of resilience is something that resonates with all of your franchisees and all of your team that are watching. As to the question, how long have I used Juice Plus? For me, I've used it since when my mum started me on Juice Plus when I was about, I think I was about 15 years old when it first came out, right at the beginning when it first launched. And I was always one of those kids who never ate enough vegetables or fruit. And for me, this was amazing. Suddenly I could get a lot of my fruit and veg in a capsule. I know that's not, you know, what it's designed for. It's meant to give you a boost to what you're already eating. But what I loved about Juice Plus is that it was natural, you know, and as a teenager, to know that I didn't have to take like synthetic fake multivitamins or, you know, these sort of vitamin C pills or whatever. I could have it as a natural, you know, freeze-dried fruit and veg was fantastic. So I've literally used it since I was about 15 years old. I did take it for Summit of Everest. I have taken it on many expeditions since. I still take it. And what, I mean, it's funny because often the sound men on our expeditions and on our TV shows go, Bear, something's rattling in your backpack. And I've learned over the years, I've got to stuff the bottles with more cotton wool to stop them rattling. So I've always been a big fan of Juice Plus. You know, this isn't I don't say this because I'm sort of, you know, officially endorsing the product or anything. I say it just because I've used it, you know, and I love the friendship we've had over the years. So I'm very proud to be a part of your family.
So our next question, that comes from down under, from New Zealand, and it's from Mari Reid.
What do you say to yourself, like what's your self-talk when you're in a challenging situation? So what's your kind of mantra?
So, yeah, you know, there'll be so many times in jungles and big expeditions and up mountains where, you know, I've definitely felt this is getting overwhelming and this is getting really gnarly and difficult right now. And for me, I just always have a really simple thing of telling myself, NGU, never give up, you know, and it's been a key phrase for me through so many difficult times. I know in many different languages, whether it's nunca te rindes or whatever, you know, I've learned that in those moments, keep it simple, remind yourself, hold tight, resilience. As I said in that talk you've just heard, resilience is king. So I really is something I say to my family, to our kids as well. You know, you're going to have tough times in life, but how we react in the tough times is also where we distinguish ourselves. How do we react when that time of testing is there? And that mantra of NGU, never give up, has helped me so much. Keep it simple, never give up.
Thanks, Bear. And the next question actually comes from Italy, and that's from Bianca Patricolo.
Mi piacerebbe sapere.
I'd like to know how you always manage to keep calm, even in the most difficult situations, and then to find the concentration to always find the right solution.
Poi dopo avere sempre la soluzione giusta.
So yeah, I think that feeling of everything getting on top of you is something everyone will relate to. You know, it happens in everyday life just as much as that happens in a jungle. But I do think choosing a positive, good, winning survivor attitude is so key. You know, we might not always feel like it, but for me, I always take it like a conscious decision. I'm going to put it on. And the Navy SEALs have a phrase that calm is contagious. You know, and I really think that is true. If you choose to be calm in that crisis, it actually becomes you. And, you know, so often I look at those big moments, and I think just choosing to be calm actually helps you so much. It allows you to see things clearly and to take a beat and just to stop and to assess things. And I also think the best reason for doing this is the alternative. The alternative to calm is chaos. And if you allow yourself to be overrun by an emotion of kind of like craziness and a panic, it never helps a situation. And I do think calm in a crisis is like a muscle. It's something you can train. You know, start on small stuff, but whenever you've got a conflict moment, take a breath, choose that calm demeanor, and then that becomes you. And but that phrase "calm is contagious" from the Navy SEALs is something I've always loved and really tried to live by, but also understanding it is a muscle. You got to practice it.
So, Bear, the next question goes down under again, Australia, and this is from Vera Lee Kernoff.
What was your most defining moment? And not just your most defining moment, but that moment that really made you reach in to the depths and the core of who you are to summon that inner strength when you needed it the most?
I think for me, you know, going through that Special Forces selection at a young age was definitely something that gave me a confidence that maybe I didn't have as a teenager growing up, you know. And I think that simple lesson of hanging on in there when it's hard, you know, and keeping moving forward and move towards the difficult stuff. You know, now I've learned that that is so key to life, but at a young age, I didn't always understand that or know that. And I think having held on and come through that Special Forces selection, it gave me that inner belief that actually I can do this. You know, I can be good in a crisis. I can be calm in that storm. And that sort of quiet confidence has helped me many times, I think, over the years in tough moments. So I think that was definitely formative in my life. I think Everest was definitely a sort of iconic moment for me, you know, to being able to do that at a young age. And it set the path and the pattern and opened the doors actually for so many other things that have happened since. You know, and it certainly for me opened the doors into the world of TV and then the writing and the speaking stuff. But I also look back and I see two elements. One is there's definitely been a lot of luck involved. I do see that and believe that more and more. I think I've been lucky. But I also believe sometimes you've got to be determined enough to hang on, to wait for that luck to come. You've got to be dogged. But also I think I stand on the shoulders of so many giants in my life, people who've helped me and encouraged me and believed in me and, you know, supported me at difficult times. And more so in life now, I look back and I look with gratitude on the, you know, the relationships and the many people that have helped me. And I will never forget that.
And the next question comes from the United Kingdom, and that's Rafaela De Palma.
How do you silence that voice in your head that tells you you can't do this or you're never going to be able to do that?
Yeah, hey, listen, you know, welcome to the human race. All of us have that voice inside that sometimes says you can't do it. But I think what I've learned about the wild and, you know, life is that you drown out the negative with the positive. You drown out the bad with the good. You drive out the dark stuff with the light. And so I think, you know, putting in positive, good affirmations, drown out those voices with better voices, voices that believe in you. And I think a lot of this can be physical. You know, I certainly still to this day write down, you know, positive phrases, positive quotes, positive things. I write it in my phone. I've, you know, over the years, I used to write it on, you know, the bathroom mirror. I used to write on bits of paper, not just goals, but also attitudes, you know, whether it's you can do it or never give up or go for things or, you know, whatever the things that resonate with you. But I think there's something about physically writing down positive things for your life, whether it is actual the goals themselves, but most importantly, I believe the attitudes that are going to get there. So the answer is, how do you silence that voice? You drown out the voice with a better voice. You drown it out with the good stuff.
Well, our next question is in the United Kingdom once again, and that comes from Claire Tully. And I think this is something that really resonates with all of our partners in our business that want to be successful.
Hey Bear, I would love to ask you, what's the biggest factor that has helped you be successful, and what would you say your top 3 daily success habits are?
I think, you know, it's interesting. I look back on so many of what people, you know, deem the successes, and I definitely see that hand of friendship has been key through so many of these endeavors, you know, and I talk about standing on the shoulders of giants, and I really believe that. And I think for you guys, that is so pertinent for what you do. You know, you can only be successful if you help empower other people to get what they really want. And I love that mantra in life because everybody benefits from that. But for me, 3 daily habits. One is I try and start off the day on my knees, just for 5-10 minutes, say my prayers, say thank you, say sorry, focus on the day, you know, a sense of gratitude. That is just a daily ritual I always have in my life. I'm not particularly religious as such. I don't go to church enough, but I like to start the day quietly on my knees, number 1. Number 2, a daily workout. I do it with our Be Military Fit family that we have. We have a veteran-run business that empowers people all over the world to train every day, short, sharp workouts, outdoors as a community. And I love that. So I try and do a BMF workout, a Be Military workout every day. That really helps me. I think there's something about being outside and training and, you know, fires me up for the day. Good nutrition is key. I include Juice Plus as part of that, but I think the whole thing of learning how to eat and train correctly has been a big part of my growing and learning process in life. And then finally, putting on the right clothes and the right attitude. You know, I look at a good survivor attitude as like clothing. You know, you've got to put it on, that positivity and that resilience and that, you know, resourcefulness and, you know, that ability to build bridges with people and go the extra mile. And I love that. It's something I try and articulate to myself before tackling the day. But I also believe I'm a work in process. I fail many, many times. Any successes I've had really has been through the door, as I said in the talk, of failure. I've learned not to fear the failures, go for things. And I think you develop then an attitude of positivity for life. And that's a good thing.
And we have another question from the United Kingdom, and that's from Emma Leyland. And I think this question really is a great question with the crazy things that's going on in the world at the moment. How do you keep a really good, strong mental health?
Yeah, I think a focus on mental health is so important nowadays. It's part of who we are. You know, we need good physical health and emotional health and mental health. I think we're whole beings. And, you know, for me, listen, it's nothing particularly heavy or complicated, but I really like my training every day. I think that really helps my mental health. I love being outside. I think there's something about the fresh air that is good for our mental health. I think having strong friendships and relationships is key to good mental health, and investing time and love and energy and kindness into the people close to us but also having the courage to sometimes say, this is hard, or I'm struggling at the moment. You know, my mum always used to say, a problem shared is a problem halved. And I've always remembered that.
So the next question comes from the United States, and that's from Jackie and John McConnell. And question is, in all of your experience that you have had, is there really one that stands out in your mind that during or after, when you thought about it, why did I do that?
Yeah, hey, listen, there have been many failed projects and failed expeditions over the years. And, you know, I look back on them actually as real time and learning and growth. And even though they were painful at the time, it was actually key. You know, like I said in that talk you heard earlier, you know, those failures are doorways to go through. You know, I remember one classic expedition we took to Venezuela, to the Lost World high plateau jungles there. We had this ambition to fly our powered paragliders, these parachutes, from the jungle up, you know, like 5,000 feet up to the top of some of these plateaus, land up there. And listen, we just got pushed back by weather and conditions and the humidity, and so many things happened that, you know, we kept getting forced back. And eventually it was like, we just cannot physically do this. We didn't have the experience, the equipment, the knowledge, or the good fortune or the weather window to be able to do it. And we returned having failed spectacularly. But, you know, I look back on that as such a time where we learned so much, and the skills and the knowledge and the experience gained there equipped me afterwards for much bigger, more ambitious projects. And sometimes at the time when we're going through those failures, it feels like, oh, our world is collapsing. But really it's the haze of battle is how I see it now, you know. And sometimes you've got to keep moving forward, and the haze will pass. You'll use that experience and you're going to go on next time stronger. But hey, I could give you a long list of failed projects like that. So if you've had a few times where you've fallen down and fallen over, welcome to the club. They're good things. Wear them as badges of honor.
So Bear, of course, we're all going through really, really difficult times at the moment. And what would be your last message here for the Juice Plus family to sort of really deal with these times, to get through them strong?
Yeah, I think, you know, we've been living through an incredible and difficult time for so many people around the world. And, you know, it's also, I believe, though, it's even though it's hard, it's also a time of opportunity. And I hope that through all of this, as the positives, who have seen communities come together and hopefully the world come together. And my real aspiration is that through this, the world emerges a kinder and a humbler and also a more united place, where we all help each other more and we have each other's back. But I think through this storm, the message that I spoke about in the talk, hold strong, is that the storms in life don't last forever. You know, use them as a chance to distinguish yourself in terms of our aspirations and our attitudes, and to go for things. And hopefully as we emerge to a brighter dawn, you know, we can all hold on tight to each other, hold on to the positive values, and shake off all that tough stuff and move forward, and with less fear, maybe less fear, to go for the things that are really important in our lives. You know, it's easy through this pandemic time to gain fear, but actually it's a time of opportunity, and there's going to be great things the other side of this adversity. So hold tight to that, focus on the good stuff, look after each other, go for your aspirations, and as the great Zig Ziglar said, Simon, you'll know this, I'll see you at the top. And I think you guys are all amazing, all you do. As I said at the beginning, Simon, I'm so grateful for the friendship over the years, and all you do is amazing. Your leadership and your incredible global family at Juice Plus. So well done, you guys. Keep going.
Thanks, Bear. What a journey it's been with the Juice Plus family over the years. And of course, I've seen you at events where, you know, you weren't this huge, iconic, successful figure that you are today. And what I love about you, you've really kept your feet on the ground and always been really, truly humble. I think that is really one special thing about yourself. And I'd just like to say a huge thank you on behalf of everybody at Juice Plus for being part of our very first global event here, celebrating 50 glorious years of Juice Plus. And of course, we're looking forward to the next 50 years, and we hope you're going to be part of that as well, Bear. So I want to say a huge thank you there, and we look forward to seeing you shortly. And I've got to rush off now. We've got a